You relieved when they die. Don't pretend it's grief. It's the clean break you prayed for. God didn't take them. He heard you. He removed the weight, the noise, the person standing between you and the mirror. You think you missed them? You missed the excuse. Now there's no one left to blame but the empty space. And that empty space, that's your answer. That's your permission. Stop mourning the obstacle. Start building on the cleared ground. God didn't abandon you. He removed them because they were standing in your way. They looked like blessings. They felt like home. But they were anchors dressed as lovers, handcuffs disguised as comfort. You were kneeling at a throne that was never built for you. They made you smaller so they could feel bigger. They called it love. It was control with a prettier name. And when God ripped them out of your life, it wasn't punishment. It was surgery. They were the infection. The removal was the cure. You didn't lose them. You lost the version of yourself that needed them. God saw who you were becoming, and He knew they'd never let you get there. You know that feeling. 11:47 p.m., you're driving home from the job that's killing you, and your phone buzzes. It's your mother. You let it ring. You always let it ring. You tell yourself you'll call back tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes Sunday. Sunday becomes next week. Next week becomes a funeral you flew home for in a wrinkled shirt because you couldn't be bothered to iron it. And you stood there, dry-eyed, holding a paper plate of supermarket potato salad, and you felt nothing. And that nothing terrified you more than grief ever could. You remember sitting in that Applebee's parking lot after she left you. Not the divorce, the girlfriend, the one before, the one who needed space. You sat there for 45 minutes eating mozzarella sticks you'd ordered for two, scrolling through her Instagram like it was scripture, looking for proof she was suffering too. She wasn't. She was tagged at a rooftop bars in Brooklyn, laughing with someone whose jawline you'll now study like a hostage photo for the next 6 months. You've been the one who texts first, always. And one Tuesday you just stop, and the phone stays dark, and you realize nobody was keeping you. You were keeping yourself invited. You've rehearsed arguments in the shower, won every one, then sat across from your father at Thanksgiving, him calling your art degree a phase, and you said nothing, just passed the cranberry sauce, swallowed it like broken glass, smiled. God didn't remove them gently. He removed them the way the ocean removes a sandcastle, without asking, without warning, without even looking down. So I'm sitting in the apartment, the one they told me was too small for a real life, and the phone rings. It's her, the one who stayed for 7 years through every broken thing I was, and she says, "I can't do this anymore." And I wait for the collapse. I wait for the begging. I wait for me, the old me, to perform the ritual. But something shifted. There was this silence inside me that wasn't empty. It was full, like a room where someone finally stopped screaming. And I realized, God didn't take her because I failed. God removed her because she was the last person making me comfortable in a life I was supposed to outgrow. The door didn't close. It was slammed shut so I'd finally stop going back through it. You know what's funny? Not funny hectares. Funny like a bruise you keep pressing. Every time I find something good, something that feels like it could be mine, it gets taken. Every single time. And I keep telling myself, there's a reason. God removed them for a reason. Keeps removing them. But what if the reason is me? See, that's the part nobody wants to sit with. It's easy to say the world takes things away. It's harder to ask why the world keeps taking the same things, the same way, from the same person. I could change, I know that. I could soften, I could be reasonable. But the pattern is warm, isn't it? Painful, yeah, but warm, familiar. Like a coat that's killing you in summer, but you won't take it off because it's the only coat you've ever owned. So here I am, standing at the edge of becoming someone different. And honestly, the edge feels a lot like the cliff I've already fallen from. You kept going back. You kept choosing them. Over your peace, over your sleep, over you. And every single time you crawled back, a little more of you disappeared. Until you didn't even recognize the person in the mirror. But something happened, didn't it? Something broke. Not you, the spell. And you woke up one morning and the ache was still there. But the grip was gone. The chain was off. And God, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, looked at your life and said, enough. They didn't leave because you weren't enough. They were removed because you were drowning, and the only hand coming to save you was the one that pulled them out. So no, you don't text back. You don't unblock. You don't soften the ending to make it comfortable for anyone. Never again. You weren't abandoned. You were delivered. And the door behind you, it's not just closed, it's gone. You ever think about divine edits, the cosmic red pen? Some folks, they get carried away, not by accident, removed, like a tumor, precisely. Take Aaron Swartz, the boy genius, 26 years old, downloaded 1.3 million academic articles, wanted knowledge free. The feds came down on him, threatened 35 years. He had the tools to change the world. They made him an example. He removed himself. God didn't want that kind of light shining too bright. It disrupts the script. Then you have the other kind, the ones who don't understand the edit. In 2022, a man named Ricky Schiffer, a veteran, drove to an FBI field office. He'd fallen down the InfoWars rabbit hole, thought he was a soldier in a holy war. He saw the removal of people like Jeffrey Epstein and Ashley Babbitt not as editing, but as an invitation to escalate. He tried to breach the building. Police shot him dead. He misunderstood the reason. He thought it was a call to action. Really, it was a warning. This is what happens. The dark lesson? The universe edits for balance. Some of us see the cuts and try to become better surgeons. Others just see the blood and grab a bigger knife. The trick is knowing which tool you're picking up. Here's the thing nobody wants to hear. That person who walked out of your life? That opportunity that crumbled? That friend who turned on you like you were nothing? God removed them. And God removed them for a reason. You can sit there and cry about it, beg the universe to bring it all back. Or you can finally understand what the Joker understood the moment he stopped bleeding for people who never once bled for him. The first rule is this: stop mourning what was taken and start respecting who took it. Something greater than you, something older than your pain, looked at your life and said, "This doesn't belong here anymore." And you threw a tantrum like a child whose toy was confiscated for their own safety. But the toy was broken. The toy was cutting you every single time you held it. You just got so used to the bleeding that you confused it with feeling alive. God didn't remove them to punish you. God removed them to protect you. And you're still writing letters to the thing that was hurting you. You have to accept that removal is not rejection, it's redirection. Every single time something leaves your world, something else gets room to enter. That job you lost, it was occupying the exact space where your real purpose was supposed to sit. That relationship that collapsed, it was blocking the doorway to the person who would actually see you. You keep looking at closed doors like God locked them out of cruelty, when every single one was locked for your preservation. The Joker didn't mourn the society that abandoned him. He understood that the abandonment freed him to stop performing for an audience that was never going to applaud. Now here's where it gets real. You are sitting at your desk right now, tolerating coworkers who drain you, maintaining friendships built on obligation rather than love, clinging to habits that are slowly dismantling you from the inside, and you are praying to keep all of it. You are praying for stability while standing in a burning building. Sometimes God doesn't send the water. Sometimes God sends the collapse. Because you would never walk out on your own. You would stay and burn and call it loyalty. Stop calling comfortable destruction home. The people God removed were not your people. The seasons that ended were not your season. And if it fell apart without you forcing it to fall apart, if it dissolved the moment you stopped holding it together with your bare hands and your exhausted heart, then it was already dead. You were just performing CPR on a corpse and calling it love. The final truth is this: you cannot receive what you are still holding space for the wrong thing to occupy. God removed them so you could finally remove the version of yourself that accepted less than what you were built for. You want to know why it still hurts? Because the old you is fighting the new you, and only one of them survives. God already chose which one. The question is whether you have the nerve to agree. You see that? You see them out there, carrying me like I'm already dead, like the punchline's over. My mother's gone, my job's gone, my mind is gone. They took it, piece by piece, like kids pulling wings off a fly. And you're sitting there thinking, it's done, he's finished. But here's the thing about a man with nothing. You can't threaten him. You can't take what God already removed. And God removed them for a reason. You thought this was my fall? No. This is me hitting the bottom and finding out the bottom has a basement. Every person they took from me was a chain keeping me polite. You didn't destroy me tonight. You unleashed me. And the worst part? You'll remember this as the moment you could have stopped it. But you sat there and watched and did nothing. Arthur, you know what they told me? Just go back to work, Arthur. Smile more. Take your meds. Be quiet. That's what the nice people said. The good people. And for a minute, a whole beautiful minute, I thought, maybe they're right. Maybe I should have just stayed on that couch with my mother. Watched Murray on TV like a good little nobody. Died invisible. Died quiet. But you don't get to unsee it. Once you see the door, you can't pretend it's a wall. Once you feel what it's like to exist, actually exist, they want you to crawl back into the box, fold yourself up, disappear again. And part of me wants to. God, part of me wants to just stop. Go back to that sad little man who cried on buses. He was safe. Nobody came for him. But you put the gun down, you take off the mask, and what's underneath? Nothing. They already took everything. There's no going back because there was never anything to go back to. That's what they don't understand. God removed them for a reason, and maybe He removed me too. They're all gone, every single one. And I keep waiting. I keep waiting for the punchline, because that's what this is, right? Some big, beautiful joke. My mother told me I was put on this earth to spread joy and laughter. Joy and laughter. She said God had a plan for me. Maybe He did. Maybe this is the plan. Maybe God looked down at every single person who was supposed to love me and said, no, not for him. He gets nothing. And I kept trying. I kept putting on the face, making them laugh, making them comfortable. And they took everything, took my pain and used it as a coat rack. So if God removed them, maybe He's making room. God removed them for a reason. You want to know the funniest joke? I spent so long screaming into the mirror, begging the world to see me, that I stopped seeing myself. They left. They all left. And I told myself that's why the room went quiet. That's why the laughter died. But the laughter was gone long before they walked out that door. I abandoned me first. I handed every piece of myself to people who never asked to hold it. I made them responsible for a fire that was supposed to burn inside me. God didn't take them to punish me. God removed them because I was using them as a mirror instead of remembering my own face. And sitting here now, in this silence I was so afraid of, I hear something I haven't heard in years, myself. The emptiness isn't proof that they mattered too much. It's proof that I mattered too little, to me. That changes tonight. You're still thanking God for the things He left you. Wake up. He wasn't blessing you. He was operating on you. And you were on the table, screaming, fighting the surgeon's hands. Those people He removed, the job, the lover, the friend, the version of you that smiled for everybody and meant it for nobody. That wasn't punishment. That was surgery. It cut out what was killing you slowly, what you would have never removed yourself because you loved the disease more than the cure. Here's the code. Remember it. What leaves was never yours. What stays must be earned. And what breaks you is building you. The people God removed made room for the person you were too afraid to become. So become them. The operating room is empty now. The anesthesia is wearing off. Time to get up. You're back. Same room, same mirror. But you already know the person standing here isn't the person who started this. Look at your eyes. Go ahead. Look. That fear you walked in with, gone. That desperate need to be chosen by someone who already made it clear they'd never choose you, gone. That begging, that groveling, that maybe if I just hold on a little longer, gone. You know what's standing in its place now? Clarity. God didn't remove them to punish you. He removed them because you were on your knees, and He needed you on your feet. You were negotiating with a ceiling that was never going to rise, in a room that was never going to grow, with a person who was never going to see you. So He did what you wouldn't do. He cut the cord. And yeah, it felt like death. I know it did. You thought the silence after they left would swallow you whole. You thought the emptiness meant something was wrong with you. But the emptiness wasn't a wound. It was a clearing. Space for what was actually meant for you. You kept asking, why would God take away someone I loved? But now you understand the real question was never about them. It was about why you loved yourself so little that you called their absence a loss, when it was a liberation. So here we are, same mirror, same room, but the person staring back, they don't flinch anymore. They don't bargain. They don't look at the door hoping someone who left will walk back through it. Let me tell you something, and you remember this for the rest of your life. Some people were never your blessing. They were your lesson. And when God removes a lesson, it means you finally passed. You know what's funny? I used to stand right here, begging God to make them stay, pleading with a silence that never answered. They didn't leave because I wasn't enough. They left because they could see what I couldn't. God doesn't remove people from your life. He removes disguises. The smile widens. The lights flicker out.